I ended up fighting the goaltender for our rival high school. So my debut, I actually got into a fight in my first shift as a high school player. And, I didn't know why, but apparently afterwards, the goalie and I became friends and we were talking. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to fight someone for my last ever high school game. I was like, me? Why me? Like, I got in trouble for that. But I remember people always like, oh, you're the kid that fought the goaltender at the end of the season. And he got around the whole section. I was like, God damn, man. Like, no, I'm not that player, but I am. But yeah, buddy. Episode 99, the great one episode, as I like to call it. Wayne Gretzky episode. This is Cinco Squad. My name is Jonathan Sawyer. With me again are my brothers, Grandpa J, Trey Day, and Mike A. Fellas, happy Thursday. We're almost to episode 100, but why not just be at 99? Because 99 is a great number. We got Aaron Judge. We got the great one, and that's about it. That's all I know. So, how's your Thursday going, guys?
But a bitch ain't won.
What?
I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't won.
Hit me.
So how's your guys' Thursday going?
You guys
Excellent.
back. Good. Damn, it's been a boring week. I'm so glad we got basketball tonight.
You weren't watching spring training baseball, like them hitting batting practice all week?
More on that later in the show.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some great college basketball games on last night. I don't know if y'all caught some of that out. So, Bubba did. You tell him, Bubba. You tell him.
Yeah, I think he was ready in appearance.
Yeah, he was feeling it too. And that West Coast. Give some love to the West Coast, Bubba. Ain't never got no love in basketball.
He's giving me like silent, like, oh, my bad. Yes, we did have some great college basketball games. UConn is finally upset after being knocked off, after thinking we weren't going to see him, but we'll see. Like I said, we'll get to that later in the show. Mm-hmm. We got a great episode for you guys. We got we got all sports talking today: women's college basketball, college basketball, NHL, MLB, NBA. But let's get to Mike's mind. Mike, what is on your mind today?
Well, I'm glad we're covering all of our bases this week, but I do bring you because, come on, guys, it's baseball season. My mind is ablaze with baseball facts, and I have one for you today that could possibly rival last week's. But no, it is not about another pair of pitchers that swap wives. Everybody go check that one out. That's a crazy story. But did you guys know? I've spent the last week thinking about it after we recorded it and posted it. I still don't get it either. So, but did you guys know that Sunday baseball games used to be illegal in the United States?
What?
It used to be illegal to play Sunday baseball games.
Tell us why, Mike.
It makes sense. I mean, they were all about like kind of legal to work. Like this whole thing about working on Sundays used to be never a thing. It used to be the Lord's Day. So I can imagine that, to be honest with you.
Due to blue laws, which are the laws that governed that, which required businesses to be closed on Sundays in observance of the Christian Sabbath, baseball and other sports were not allowed to play on Sundays. Over a few years, cities and states slowly changed their rules, but not before. The Red Sox had to play at the Boston Braves Stadium on Sundays because Fenway was too close to a church. And the managers of the Giants and Reds were arrested for playing a Sunday game in 1917. For reference, Pennsylvania was the last state to change their laws, but that wasn't until 1933. So for the vast majority of the early part of the 20th century, no sporting events were allowed to take place by penalty, apparently, of being arrested and thrown in jail on Sundays.
So when they sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," it's like, by God, but not on a friggin' Sunday.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, sports rules the world. At the end of the day, sports rule the world. Once the baseball and NFL and everybody went to Sundays, everyone else started working on Sundays. So sports rule the world. I mean, we think about back at COVID when the NBA decided, or March Madness decided to cancel the tournament. That's when everyone knew COVID was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Because, like, they just canceled $1 billion ordeal. Like, what?
It stopped March Madness? Nothing stops March Madness.
Sports rules the world. Sports rules. Everything drools.
Sports rules. Sports rules. Part-time. Excellent.
Enough teams is enough teams. NCAA, we haven't even got to the first year of the new playoff format, and we're already seeing rumors about a 14-team playoff that may happen in 2026. Can we at least get through the first time of the 12-team playoff first? I mean, geez, we're going to become the NCAA men's tournament. We're going to start with 64 teams playing college football in the playoff. Are we going to need 38 games to figure out who's the champion? At the same time, I get we want more football, and that is perfectly fine. But at a certain point, too many teams are going to start to water down the format. I mean, I don't even know if we necessarily need 12. I was okay with 8 personally. I mean, if we got to do 12, fine, but 14, then it'd be 16, then it'd be 18. Come on, NCAA, stop the madness. Make the regular season still mean something. Make the regular season great again. Please, we don't need to have every game. And what we want to do, have every game actually matter. When we start to do all these 14-team playoffs, every game doesn't matter. And part of the fun of college football is every game matters. One loss in September could be the end of everything. That big game in October, it means everything. More playoff teams, it takes away from that. I enjoy the rivalries, the fact that that is to make or break. Please don't make this a 14, 20, 38-team playoff. Please, NCAA.
All right, guys, so unfortunately, I called the UConn upset a little bit too early. It wasn't Marquette, it was Creighton, so definitely was very wrong on that because the game looked competitive for about all but 8 minutes until UConn proved they were the better team. However, Tennessee did me right and blew out Vandy by 35 points. So we broke even. But we're not about breaking even. We're about making you that moolah. So let's go to your locks of the week this week where we're sticking to the hardcore. We are in the world of college basketball because, hey, guys, it's time of that year for me where I am totally locked in on college basketball. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with home teams that get it done. That is Iowa State. And at home against the spread, they're almost unbeatable. 11-2 this season. West Virginia coming into town. Here's what we know about West Virginia. They can't keep up with good teams that can score the basketball. So Iowa State to cover the spread is my first lock. Second lock, Tennessee coming off a tough road game at Missouri. Had to come back and win that game. Revenge game for them. A&M took them out a couple weeks ago. You know they circled that home game to say we got to make sure we embarrass A&M. We cannot lose to this team twice in the same season. That might potentially mess up a number 1 seeding for us. Tennessee to win at home. And finally, my Cats and Alabama Crimson Tide go head-to-head in Lexington. And guess what? Defense optional with these guys. Alabama ranked first in the nation in scoring. Kentucky ranked third. You have 2 of the top 3 offenses in the country. So you know what it is, baby. Swish, swash, take the over, give me those points. So if you want to win, here's my 3-team parlay that's going to win you some big bucks. And you guys, we're going to post that ticket because I'm going to put some money on that ticket. And I'll show you after I win. You should have followed my advice. So Iowa State to cover the spread. Tennessee on the money line. Kentucky, Alabama, take the over. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are your locks of the week.
Yes, we got NBA returning tonight. So, of course, we got to talk about the second half of the NBA to see who's the pretender and who's the contender in the NBA going into the last couple months of the season. So, I'm going to throw it over there to Mikey Mike and see what he thinks is a pretender or contender.
Oh, yes, thank you. I took the contender side this time around, and my contender going into the second half of the NBA season is the Indiana Pacers. I'm a big believer in this team. They're coming off of the hype of that All-Star game, playing the All-Star game, had their guys win the skills challenge, had impressive performance. But despite what you may think of the lack of defense and all that, that's another side note, but a strong showing from their guys, especially my guy, the leader of my fantasy basketball team, Tyrese Halliburton, who's having a massive breakout season. But the other thing that impresses me is that they've added, and I think not a lot of like hardcore NBA fans, such as Trey Day, John, and Jamie, they'll understand this. But I think some casual fans will forget the Pacers have Pascal Siakam now. And in the roughly 15, 16 games that he's been with the team thus far, he's been equaling Halliburton in scoring. They're both averaging about 21 points a game. I'm a big fan of theirs. I'm a big fan of Benedict Mathurin. I think he's a really good bench player for them right now that I'm surprised isn't getting as much time amongst the depth chart as he should. I think he's a solid all-around player that can help contribute to them making a push for a title. So I just like the makeup of this team. I like kind of how they have guys that cover their bases as far as doing the different things that they're going to need to do, scoring, defense, rebounding, facilitating, things like that. So I like the idea that the Pacers could make a big jump. What do you think,
Yeah.
Jimmy?
I can see that too. Yeah, I mean, I can see that too. I mean, they were kind of on my list. I guess I gotta say my biggest, it's between like two like contenders and two pretenders. So I'll kind of take the both route, right? But my biggest contender is the Cleveland Cavaliers. 23 out of the last 28 wins, 9-1 going into the All-Star break. They're just catching fire, and I don't know really a team that's other than Boston probably that's going to stop them, right? So Milwaukee looks like hit or miss. And then my biggest pretender is the LA Clippers. They just I don't trust them. They almost remind me of the early 2000s San Jose Sharks. They almost remind me of those type of teams where they're really dominant in the regular season, and then all of a sudden, boom, in the playoffs, they just fall apart. I don't trust that PG and Kawhi as much as I would love to see them make a deep playoff run to stay healthy. And, this team is rolling right now, but I just can't see them making a good, strong run. I see them being eliminated in the first round of their playoff run. Mm-hmm. Grandpa Jay, what you think?
I don't know. I think I'm going the opposite with the Clippers. I'll tell you why I really like the Clippers. It's more because of what Tyronn Lue is instilling right now. And I think what he's realized is he's had something over the last couple of years that hasn't worked, not because the roster wasn't the right roster. You're right. A lot of it was injury concerns. But what you see right now is that I think they have the depth where they're not too concerned if their superstars have to possibly sit out certain games. The most important thing this team has really going for them right now is the fact that Kawhi may finally have gotten to the point where, because of all the time he's missed, and I don't want to jinx the guy, maybe he's finally playing at basketball strength. I felt like we never saw him playing at strength. He was at half speed. And that meant that defensively he couldn't be an asset. So now he's a defensive asset. The team's net rating fits an NBA Championships net rating, which is to be top 10 offense and defense. So I think the Clippers are putting themselves in a great position because the West right now, when you really look across the board, you also have to have transcendental superstars, and they have multiple superstars on that roster. So they fit the bill. Here's my contender.
You trust him to actually be healthy. You actually trust Kawhi to actually finish all the way.
For some reason, this year it just feels different. I don't know what it is. For some reason, it just feels different this year. Like the way he's playing it's different. He's playing at a speed I haven't seen in a while. Like I said, Paul George actually has had the benefit of not having to carry that team ever since they made the trade. So I think there's a lot of good things going for them where the players that normally get into injury or are they injury prone, they're not having to do as much as they had to do before. That's what you need from aging superstars.
But did Kawhi have to do as much when he missed 50% of the games? He wasn't even there to have to work that hard.
But that's the thing. Even when he came back, he looked like he was still half a step behind. Now he finally looks like he's playing at the speed. I mean, he's an all-star this year, right? He's playing at the right speed to be like the guy that can carry this team through the playoffs.
I mean, we watched the last we saw him in the playoffs last year was him basically going off, torching Durant, and then the next day he's like, "Oh yeah, my knee's done." And we were like, "Wait a minute, you just look better than Kevin Durant." So we've seen him look better.
That was the thing. It's like he just came alive for that game, and it looked like, "Yo, how come you're moving at a different speed?" And it was too much. Like he's playing that way now in the regular season.
Because Kawhi has good years every 4 or 5 years, right? Yeah. So I mean, did it with the Spurs, and then goes on a 4-year hiatus. It's a leap year, so I mean, hey, it's Kawhi's. It's a leap year, so that's why Jamie.
It's a leap year. Kawhi can jump. Therefore,
the Clippers going to put. The Clippers will quit. Just remember I said that.
The Clippers don't.
What do you think down there? Or
Jay was in the middle of his take. No, I just had to.
Yeah, no, I'll say it's unfortunate for me. I want to see this team make a deep playoff run, but I don't think they're sitting in a good position. Even though they're the top defensive team in the NBA right now, I think the T-Wolves are pretenders this year. Yeah. Just this year. I think they need to probably have that tough loss. I mean, they could make a magical run like KG did to the Western Conference Finals, given that they have home court and they are great defensively. I just think they get a terrible first-round matchup, and it doesn't suit them. And I mean a terrible one. Like they may have to play the Lakers or they may have to play them. And I feel like there's teams that match up really well with them that aren't going to be the team they want to see in the first round. Right. So it's more unfortunate for them that they have teams who can be contenders that may end up being the team they play in the first round. So it's almost like by default, just give them one more year for me. I think they're pretenders this year.
They're running out of time with Cat, though. I mean, not in the sense of him retiring, but I mean his good years. I mean he's been hurt. He's had a lot of injuries. I mean you need to maximize this right now. So I'm surprised they haven't
signed Mike Conley to a 2-year deal. So I think they're going to keep.
I like that sign with him. Keep the veteran presence in that locker room.
Yeah,
for sure.
Trey.
Pretenders. Let's talk about Doc Rivers. We talk about pretenders. This man's been a pretender all the way back to Boston. We've seen this many a times. Are we going to trust Doc Rivers? Absolutely not. There's no way in hell that Celtics team was supposed to only have one ring. I blame him for part of the T-Mac shit. The Sixers went out there and underachieved. The Clippers, when you have Blake, Chris, DeAndre, they underachieved. You don't know what time it's going to come. When it's all said and done, Doc will be outcoached. It might be by Spoelstra. It might be, I don't know, it might be by randomly Joe Mazzulla, who I don't trust him, but I trust his team more. Some point in time is going to come, and shit going to get tight, booty hole's going to get clenched, and Doc's shit is going to get tight. And that's all I'm going to say. I like Doc. He seems like a great guy, but at the end of the day, I don't trust Doc Rivers with this shit on the line. I mean, Dame had a great All-Star week. He's still showing out. So is Giannis. I don't like the depth on the team the way it used to be. Lopez isn't as great on defense as he used to be. Portis isn't giving him the same thing. When it's all said and done, the Bucks are pretenders. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I could even see the Knicks. I could even see the Knicks put them. I don't see it with the Bucks.
My biggest thing with the Bucks is their biggest mistake was trading Drew Holiday. The reason why I say that, and the reason why I say the winner in that trade is Boston, because Boston got rid of Marcus Smart, right? Marcus Smart was a similar defensive player as Drew Holiday, but Drew Holiday can score. Mm-hmm. Drew Holiday can handle the ball, which alleviates the pressure off of Jaylen Brown, which is why we're seeing Jaylen Brown pretty much maximize his potential this year, where he doesn't have to kind of do both. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So because Drew Holiday can handle the ball as well as Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown just plays good defense, gets the ball, knocks down shots, and does what he does. This is a perfect system.
Porzingis, if he can stay on the floor, I mean, that is a legit big four, that no other team can match that big four depth.
Do you have a contender, Trey?
I mean, you kind of went through Boston already, but I mean, that's kind of obvious. Yeah. If not, I mean, Denver's still somebody to break with, of course. At the end of the day, I just think Boston and Denver on a colliding course at this moment, just keeping it real based on what we've seen. Mm-hmm. I guess to quickly address what Mike said earlier, I think the Pacers are still at least a year out because of defense and just the lack of they have to go find, and I mean, maybe they're Marcus Smart or somebody, the guy just comes in and says, I don't give a damn. Or even like a Patrick Beverly, just a guy that says, I'm just here to play defense and set a tone. Right. They need that guy, and that probably won't get into the offseason. So I think it's another year for them. But fortunately for them, Siakam's not really that old. Halliburton's super young. Mathurin is young. Like, they're young, so it's not like this.
Turner's, I think, still pretty young.
Yeah, Turner's very young.
He's under 30.
He's got that extension. So
Trey, I tell you what, Boston is praying Miami ain't sitting there at number 8 either.
No,
it's not Miami's year this year. I'm sorry. I've been watching. I don't underestimate Eric Spoelstra. I don't underestimate that team. But it's like I was saying, to Malin's uncle the other day.
Did you watch the Boston-Miami game in Boston last week? Did you watch any of it?
Last week?
Yeah.
There was no game last week.
No, not last week.
Early,
The last week.
No, I was able to watch that. But, yeah. I don't know. I just don't.
It's like on Sunday. Bro, they took them to the wire.
I mean, they're going to be competitive. Miami's going to be competitive. I just feel like they're missing what they were missing last year. Another guy to help Jimmy. Like, Tyler is stepping up, right? Tyler being on the floor has been 21 points per game, and everyone's shitting on him. I mean, what do you want from your three, right? 21 points per game? I mean, come on.
I just say that because they're the top-rated team in the East right now. They're ranked.
We'll see. I hope so. I'm a Heat fan. So I'm
Boston
hoping
would beat them, but where the issue why you want them in the first round is, and this always gets underrated, and we'll touch back on this when the playoffs come, is what you don't want is that hell of a matchup in the first round where you do have to go kick 6 or 7. So, yeah, Boston gets past it, but do they take a certain amount of energy out of them where maybe now Boston's more tired 2 rounds later because they had to go scrap with Miami.
With the
whole
Bucks
goal in your first round is relax, get easy. I mean, I'll give you a quick reference, and I've done this, reference before. If you go back and look at when the Cavs beat the Warriors in 7, remember the Cavs basically swept through that round of playoffs, and the Warriors had to come back from 3-1 to beat Durant and Russ and them with the Thunder. So the Warriors already were the war of attrition.
No, it's the Clippers. Yeah, I think it was the Clippers, right? The Clippers were up 3-1, I think, on them in the conference finals.
No, that was a different year. But that year specifically, that was the year because remember everybody was mad because Durant choked, and they thought they should have been there because everybody thought Durant choked, and they were up 3-1, and then the Warriors came back on them, but the Warriors had to scratch and claw just to get to the finals, get up, and then by the game 7, it's like we're dead. So if you're Boston, you don't want Miami. I mean, nobody wants Miami, not because I think Miami's going to go far, just because Miami's going to fucking beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, they'll drag you
down.
The
second round a lot harder.
Don't make it a series. That's what they're meant to do.
At minimum.
There's gonna be some guy like Caleb Martin like last year that's gonna come off the bench and be like, "Fuck, man, how are we supposed to challenge them?" Let us know in the comments what you guys think about who your pretender, and who your contenders are. Interested to hear that towards the second half of the year.
Happy retirement to Eric Hosmer. Now, as a baseball fan, an avid baseball fan, I really appreciate everything you were able to do in your career, how integral and critical of a part you were on that Kansas City Royals team that almost won back-to-back World Series if they didn't run into the every other year dynasty that was the San Francisco Giants in 2014. But you kept the Mets from winning a World Series in 2015. And newer baseball fans that only saw you in San Diego and Boston and Chicago aren't really going to understand exactly how good you were in Kansas City, how important of a part you were, along with guys like Alex Gordon, Whit Merrifield, Hunter Dozier, Wade Davis, those kinds of guys on that really underrated Royals team that won that World Series. So I know things didn't work out for you in the later years of your career the way you wanted it to. You battled injuries, but I admire the way you tried to battle through those injuries and just kept your career going. And I wish you nothing but the best in retirement. I know you're starting a media company, so I think that's huge for you. I'm really excited to see what you do, and you were a fantastic baseball player. So have fun, Eric Hosmer. Enjoy retirement. Enjoy life after baseball, even though I'm sure you're going to be in baseball somehow.
Spring training is here, and it's just starting out. And like today, Thursday is the first game of spring training, first game of the 2024 season between the Padres and the Dodgers. So excited to have baseball back. I know Mike and I are. Make sure you tune into the rotation weekly. We're going to be giving you facts every single week. But as we bring it on the Thursday show, we have to wonder, which location would you guys go to? I mean, Jamie and I live in the Sunshine State, but I want to hear what Trey Day, where you want to go. Either Arizona in the Cactus League or to the Grapefruit League, have some fruit down here in the Sunshine State.
I'm going to take it to Arizona. We're going to enjoy our time out here in the Cactus League. Reason why? I grew up in Cleveland. I grew up in L.A. I grew up as a Dodgers fan. I grew up a fan of the Cleveland baseball team, whatever their name was as I was a kid growing up. Where do they play? They play in Arizona. So, of course, I want to go see the two teams that I have rooting interest in because they're in Arizona. On top of that, no offense to my Yankees fans on top of it, I'll be damned if I'm going to spend my time in Florida stuck with Yankees and Red Sox fans for multiple weeks out here in Florida. And that's where they both play. I'm like, I don't want to be stuck out here. Also, do I want to be sitting out here with the Houston Astros and their fans in Florida? No. The Florida idea is starting to become less and less enticing. So if you told me where to go hang out for the time, I'm going to go out there. Also, some of the bigger stadiums, I just think it may be more to do. Arizona tends to have the bigger stadiums. So the biggest stadium is actually in Arizona. Actually, the biggest two stadiums are in Arizona. So I think it may be a little more to do around the stadium, kind of go out, explore. I've never actually been to Arizona. I've lived in Florida before. So let me go out, explore, enjoy my time. I think I would take myself out to the Cactus League, keep my feet up out there.
Well, one thing that the Cactus League has over the Grapefruit League is that everything's in Phoenix, in the Phoenix Metro DMA. It's not spread out in Florida. So for me, I would like to get out of Florida and go to Arizona because I can hit realistically, if I go there for 10 days, I could hit every single game, every single stadium because it's in a square mile of maybe you're driving an hour one way, hour the other way. Versus the Florida League, you got to drive pretty much from the east coast of Florida all the way up to Orlando, all the way up to, trust me, I've been mapping it out for our trip. It's a nightmare. So I can understand why some people would like to go to the Cactus League because you can see more baseball, especially if you're a baseball fan and want to go see the stadium. So that's where I'm going. I'm going to the Cactus League. Mike, what do you think? Because you're coming down here. So if you had a choice, what would you pick? Would you pick me and you going to Arizona or Florida without having bias?
Right.
Of the Yankees.
Well, okay. No.
I meant any bias of like Jamie and I meant not the Yankees.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, it's the Yankees. So I'm gonna go to Florida because I want to be amongst those Yankee fans. That I don't want to be with the Red Sox fans, obviously, but I'll be with the Yankees fans. No,
they'll be right there with you.
No.
And the Astros fans.
In pinstripes.
But no, I like the idea of Florida. I see it's a little different from. I'm a little different from all three of you in the sense of I've never lived in Florida, so it's all new to me, honestly. And so I'm really interested in. I'd be interested in, like, obviously I've been to Tampa, but I've been to Tampa, but at this point I haven't been to Tampa to stay in Tampa. I've been to Tampa to do something.
In a sprint.
So.
I never thought about that. You are the only one who's never lived in Florida.
I'm the only one that's never lived in Florida. So it is all new to me. I've been to Florida a bunch of times now, but again, it's mostly been in sprints to do things for the most part. Yeah. And when it hasn't been, I've been in Miami or Fort Lauderdale. And that's it. I haven't been to the rest of the state. Like, I've never been to the Orlando area. I've been to Fort Myers or for the Fort Myers area, but I haven't really explored. Obviously, we haven't explored Fort Myers area. I haven't explored Tampa, or really haven't, explored Fort Lauderdale, but never been to Orlando, never been to Jacksonville, which they don't have spring training up there, but it's within a shot to if I was there for more than a spring training trip or whatever. So it's just in Florida. So I think between the Yankees and being able to experience a place that I've been to but not explored that much, I would want to go to Florida. Plus, honestly, there is a little bit of bias. I want to visit my friends.
Sorry, we'll be gone that week. My bad, bro.
Us two be in Arizona.
You'll be out in the Cactus League.
We'll be in Arizona. I don't know about you. I mean, Jay, where are you going to be at?
Where you want to be at?
Are you staying in Florida or are you going out to Arizona to watch?
I need somebody to watch the games with, Jamie. Come on.
I'm staying right here in Florida, whether it's Sarasota, whether it's Tampa, whether it's Clearwater, whether it's Venice, whether it's Port St. Lucie, whether it's Jupiter. You know what also might be on the way to the stadium? A beach. Because if I'm going to a spring training game, it's on a spontaneous whim that I'm going to the game, which therefore I can get redirected somewhere else that's pretty near a lot of those stadiums, which is the beach. I don't have that option in Arizona. Also, if it starts to kind of drizzle and I don't want to stick around, I'd rather be on the beach since I'm out there already if it's drizzling than sitting out in a stadium wondering who the heck is coming up to the plate because I've never seen or heard of them before. So for me, I'm staying in Florida. If something is near a beach, that's my preference, especially a spring training game because I might not even make it to the second inning. I might leave Mike's ass there and come back and get him at the end of the game.
Well, Jamie, I will say one thing, though. Technically, if you go to Arizona, it's just one big beach. There's no water, but the sand's there.
You said
the whole point of
going
keep your desert.
You don't have to worry about the rain.
Well, you don't have to worry about it's dry. Remember what Arizonans said? It's dry. I don't give a shit. 110 is 110.
Yeah,
it's not shit. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't blame you guys. Being in Florida, seeing the multiple cities, for me, like, I just would like to see multiple games. And I think it's more pertinent in the West Coast than it is the East. There's only like 5 teams you can see on the East. On the West Coast, you can see the Blue Jays. Like Lakeland, Florida's 40 minutes away from you, Jay. Mm-hmm. It's not very far, so I can definitely see that. But definitely interested to see what everyone thinks in the comments. Yeah. Let us know what you think. where you go? Arizona, or if you are going, which one are you going to? Arizona or Florida?
I'm on down to the sunshine.
I'm so tired of hearing about the Justin Fields trade scenario. Now, look at the end of the day, I'm looking at this as, okay, so we're looking at Justin Fields as the quarterback. Has he been the most prolific quarterback? Not really. Has he been what he deserves, right? The high draft pick? No, not really. But what team has he had around him, right? He's had, what, 2 offensive coordinators in his first 2 or 3 seasons. He's been injured. He's been told he has to use his legs. He's similar to RG3 in his first season. It's the system that he gets drafted to. And I'm getting sick and tired of every single year we go into the draft and it's like, oh, we got to draft this quarterback into a system that isn't even ready for him, isn't even prepared for him. And then in the first 2 seasons, we sit here and say, oh, this guy's terrible. This guy's trash. Well, no quarterback's going to go into that system unless you're a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady and make that system work, right? So when I'm looking at Justin Fields, he needed someone that could take him under his wing and go by. I said this in the beginning, that Justin Fields needed to go to a team that was ready for his skill set, that was ready for him to develop. When you get to the NFL, you have to develop your game. And when you're going through coaches, when you're going through offensive coordinators, as much as they are, how is a kid supposed to develop in the league? Now, he does his work on the side, on the offseason. He does everything he can to stay in shape, stay healthy. But as we've seen, this is a long season. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about Caleb Williams should go number 1. How about this, teams that are struggling at the bottom of the league? How about you get your team ready soundly, then you draft a quarterback, and then you'll have success. It's a key instant. Look at the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. They drafted him. Obviously never expected him to play. But he came in and didn't have to go out and play hero ball. He didn't have to come out and play, oh, I had to be the responsible one, right? He came in with 0 expectations, 0 feel, because he had good guys around him, veteran guys around him to help him grow in the league. And this is what teams need to do for young quarterbacks. You keep throwing away these draft picks because you're guessing. Go get yourself an offensive lineman. Go get yourself a good receiving core. Go get yourself a solid defense and then draft your quarterback of the future and watch your team succeed. At the end of the day, Justin Fields, I feel bad for you because you're in a lose-lose situation at this point. And honestly, I don't know what the future holds for the Chicago Bears or any of the teams at the bottom. The NHL had the Stadium Series this past weekend, and it was electric in MetLife. And it sparked a little interest of we had a couple different things going on where Mike had a rookie open up the game with a fight, which sparked the question. In your NHL debut, would you rather get into your first NHL fight, or would you rather score the game-winning goal? Grandpa Jay, what you thinking?
Oh, come on. All the glory, all the guts. Take glory over guts, man. Give me the glory. I want that game-winning goal. I want all my teammates skating around me. I want the stadium cheering my name. I want all the hype. I want to be on SVP that same night. Give me all the fucking limelight right away, bro, because you never know when that time might come again. It could be a whole damn year, 2, 3, who knows. If I get it on night 1, then that might project me to have a great career because all of a sudden I believe in myself more. I'm going to get into fights in my career. That's bound to happen. But a game-winning goal in your debut? Come on, man. Can't get better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a story behind this. So for me, my debut for my high school team was pretty much the end of the season. And the coach put me out there. And towards the end of the game, I ended up fighting the goaltender for our rival high school. So my debut, I actually got into a fight in my first shift as a high school player. And you know, I didn't know why, but apparently afterwards, the goalie and I became friends and we were talking. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to fight someone for my last ever high school game. I was like, me? Why me? Like, I got in trouble for that. But I remember people always like, oh, you're the kid that fought the goaltender at the end of the season. Like, it got around the whole section. I was like, God damn, man. Like, no, I'm not that player, but I am. But for me, I got to agree with Jay. It's pretty easy for me. In your debut, you want to have that limelight. You want to have that impact on your team where, you can show the coach and the organization, this is why you drafted me. You drafted me to put the puck in the net. You drafted me to have big moments. And here's a little glimpse of what is going to be of for the next however many years I'm with this organization. So I would definitely like to see the game-winning goal. I think it's pretty simple on this because the fighting is, like Jay said, going to happen. It's part of the game. But as someone that you're drafting high to come score goals and he gets into a fight and is out for 5 minutes, yeah, the crowd might like it, your teammates might like it, but the organization's looking down like, hey, this is not why you're here right now. So I got to say that. But, Trey Day, what you think?
I adamantly disagree. I'm coming in with a fight. Flat out. There's plenty of time to go win and get to – no, and honestly, I'm disagreeing partly because of what you said. You said, John, in your statement, I want to sit here. I want to set a tone of the organization. I want to impress my teammates. You know, as a impress your teammates, saying this motherfucker's got our back. He's coming in. He's ready to scrap at all times. And he's not just some high draft pick that's just, a pretty boy. He's not just coming in here like, oh, I'm the man. I'm too good to get my hands dirty. See, for me, I'm looking at that teammate and saying, oh, shit, this dude got balls. He not coming out here on some, I'm too good to fight. I just got y'all to be my goons. That means he going to get in the trenches with me. He going to get ready to go to war. Also, you're setting a different tone in the long term to me if you come in banging because at the same time, you're letting every other team around the league know I'm not taking no shit off top. Because what happens, and this is in any sport, when you sit there and you see a guy and what they quickly peg and they say, this person's soft. All you got to do is bang in his head. But you know who they don't call soft? The motherfucker who comes in swinging. You ever seen one of those prison movies where the person walks right in prison, he just starts fighting, everybody says, you know what? Don't fuck with Big Mo. When Big Mo come in, oh shit, Big Mo, he gonna lay them hands. And now maybe I gotta fight less the rest of my career because y'all know what time it is. As soon as you see me coming up on the stage, you're all shit. Trey coming up. I know what time it is now. Let me fall back. This ain't worth 5 minutes in the box to get my jaw split. So I'm gonna come in and set that tone and fight. And I think the head organization, I think they're gonna appreciate it because they're gonna say he's willing to get dirty. I think your captain of your team is gonna say he's willing to get dirty. Your fans are damn well gonna love it because they're gonna say that's my favorite guy. He ready to get active. So for me, yeah, I'm coming in swinging.
Well, I can tell you right now, I can confirm when I got to the bench because it was end of the game, so they staged me off the ice. That all my teammates were like, oh, the boy, like around me, like I felt like a part of the team. So I do understand what you're saying because I actually lived that where before I was kind of felt like an outsider. And then when I did that, it made me weirdly part of the team where I didn't stand down. I think I won the fight. I don't remember. It was so many years ago.
This sounds messed up, but playing football, some of the things that united us the most, honestly, was when we had fights versus other teams. We had a couple on-the-field fights, and that I'll never forget. Quick story time. We had a fight where a player gets yanked up by a coach of the other team after he's on the sideline, tackles a guy, and the other coach picks him up. Next thing I know, all of us are clearing the bench. We all running over. Security had to separate everybody the rest of the fight. But we got back on that bus, everybody like, those my brothers. And the rest of the year, we didn't lose a fucking game because all of us felt like we had each other's back. We didn't have prima donnas, our quarterbacks in there. We like, oh, I know he got a full ride, but he ready to go fight. We had a star receiver. He was going D1. He was ready to fight. We had a linebacker going Big Ten. He was ready to fight. And I said, oh, you motherfuckers aren't prima donnas? Yeah, we all were a unit. And that to me, it was a different level.
Yeah, I mean, it just sets up different – it's weird, but it sets a different precedent where it's not the trenches in the game. It's almost like the trenches in – it unifies a team in a weird way. I can't really define it.
You're with these people everywhere. I mean, in hockey is 82 game season plus your playoffs. You're with these people for over 100 nights, meaning anything go down. I'm on the road. We go to bars together, but I know this guy has my back. It's still something, and that's something for people who never play sports. You can never, in any sport, you can never understand that feeling of a team sport of knowing these people are my dogs. They with.
Yep, and especially in hockey because, I mean, it is a physical game. It's a very physical game where, like baseball, you don't really get that too much other than because nowadays in baseball, you can't, like Roger Clemens used to say, like if my hitter got hit, that's why Roger Clemens earns so much respect is because he'd go out and say, all right, here's a 99-mile-an-hour fastball to your dome. And hey, bro, like it's a game. Like I miss those days, to be honest with you. Not saying that they should throw, but I do miss those days where pitchers would throw at people and like we had that argument. But let's go, Mr. Ranger, Mr. Overtime winner in the Stadium Series. I need some energy from you from that. Come on. You guys are now 4-1.
That comeback? Hell yeah. You know what? Islanders can go suck it. Patrick Waugh. Oh, it was a good team game. No, shut up. You lost. No.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's right there on the wall. Leave him alone.
He's in goalie pads. That's a different man. Patrick Waugh, the goalie, is different from Patrick Waugh, the coach.
He's defending himself.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm gonna agree with our resident hockey expert and stick with my guy. I'm gonna drop the gloves because you know what? It's just a lot of. Trey talked about it last week. He made a good point. How this is hockey above all is a sport of toughness, and where you can look at them and go, "Wow, those are grown, tough ass men that are taking." You know, I mean, you look. I point to see how tough hockey players are from a personal perspective. I point anyone in the direction of defenseman Ryan Lindgren, who should have every bone in his body broken at this point with the amount of shots he blocks and checks he throws, and just how he just gets in the way of anything or anyone on the ice. And I admire that. And so I think that's my mentality going in as a young player is obviously, so if you're looking at it from a perspective of if it's literally me, I'm not a big guy. Like, I'm not a big guy whatsoever. And I'm not going to be...
Bro, if you got into a fight, we're all on the same team, that would ignite our team. We'd have 10 goals in the first game. We'd be like, let's go!
Well, and so that's my thought process.
And if you won, too.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Oh my God, like, knocks a dude out, we'd be like, all hell money.
Yeah. One punch.
So here's what we got here, right? Chicks like the wrister, dicks like the fist.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat. No, but like that's
That's great.
Oh,
what do you say? Finish up your statement.
I was just that was my thought process was especially if it's literally me who's not that big of a guy, it's like sending a message in especially on my first shift. It's like, okay, well, if he's fighting, like if he's willing to put his body on the line and be physical and be, play tough, then the rest of us can. And it's igniting the bench and to the point, like, it does. I feel like it's a good way to bond you with your team, to be like, hey guys, I'm not here to just score goals. I'm not here to, make the pretty plays. I'm willing to put my body and, on the line for the good of this team and to be what you need me to be as tough as you need me to be, and to, like I said, be in the trenches with you guys. So I think that's impactful. I trust myself. If I'm getting to an NHL level, I trust that I'm going to be able to score goals in my career. I'm here to be able to show the skill, but not everybody's going to expect that out of me. So I want to send that message.
Well, not to mention the guy that did get into a fight for Mike's Rangers is 6'7", 260 pounds.
No, he's a large individual.
So right. Mike's third line on his team has two guys at 6'6" and 6'7", which is a monster of a hockey player, especially when the skates raise you up 4 inches. So right, exactly. So that guy made a statement walking on the ice, but he also made a statement that, hey, I'm not just some rookie. So I can definitely see, the impact of a fight as I was one at one point at a lower level. I can only imagine at an outdoor, and especially in an outdoor game. Like, it's already hyped as it is because you're playing outdoors. And now you go and get into a fight in your first game, first 5 minutes, with one of the toughest guys in the league, and Zach Martin. Matt Martin. I'm sorry, Zach Martin. Who's Zach Martin?
The guard for the Cowboys.
Card.
I hope he didn't get in a fight with him.
I mean, that's a job. You have a good time fighting too.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight Zach Martin.
Just come running on the ice. God damn it! But let us know in the comments what you guys think. Game-winning goal or fight in your first game as an NHL player or anything.
All right, so I know I'm supposed to wait for the big spectacle at the NCAA championships, but Gretchen Walsh has decided to start the party right away. University of Virginia standout and current NCAA record holder in the 50 freestyle decided today, I'm done with that old record. Not only did she beat it in the morning by 2 100s, but then she took it down by another 18 100s at nighttime. New women's record at now 20.57. That is unheard of. She also became the first woman ever to go under 20 seconds on a relay split, 19.95 in the 50 free. These times are unheard of for women, and now it's going to become a norm where women are going to have to think about being 20 point if they're going to compete to win an NCAA title in the 50 free, and 19 if they're going to have their names heralded as one of the greatest sprinters of all time. I mean, these were great times for men back in my day 20 years ago. So now we've seen how far the sport has moved forward, and I'll give you an idea. The top guy in SEC right now, tonight, Jordan Crooks from the Cayman Islands, 17.99. 17.9 seconds to swim 2 laps of freestyle. Gone are the days when you can consider certain times fast in swimming. It's gone beyond that right now. We're specializing in the sport. We love seeing it. And what I love as a coach is how far can this envelope go? I think these guys can push it so far that they'll probably consider at some point Dressel to be an average sprinter because we'll have that many people going 17s. And that in itself is absolutely mind-blowing. So way to go, swimmers. Keep it up. Love seeing the fast swimming at the conference championships. Can't wait to see what's in store at this year's NCAA championships for both men and women.
Sabrina Ionescu made an impact in the three-point contest with Steph Curry, which sparked some interest with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and women's college basketball being the resurgence of women's college basketball from the Diana Taurasi days, where it was Candace Parker, where it was really big and those names were huge. How can women's college basketball or women's basketball in general blow up and take advantage of these three type of names? Trey, what you think?
If there ever was a time for women's college basketball or just women's WNBA in particular blow up, it would be now. And to be honest, you're out of excuses now because now you have the ready-made stars more than ever. I mean, you come out and you look at Caitlin Clark, who's possibly the best women's college basketball player of all time, if not one of the best, probably 3 to 5 basketball college careers of all time coming in. So you already have a ready-made star there. Hate her or love her, Angel Reese. Some people are going to look at her villain. That's perfectly fine. You do need villains. You need people to love them. I personally like Angel. That's cool. For whoever hates her, fine. But you need people to be on both sides. So they need to lean into that with those two coming in. And the other night, I'm sitting there, I'm watching ESPN. I watched Juju Watkins, and I'm like, damn, why have I not seen this girl play more? Once again, Jamie put me hip to her. Juju, she's a fucking star. You need to be hip to that. Then when I look at all this, I say, okay, on top of this, you have to lean in and let these women be women also. Let them, and there's a lot of attractive women. I'm not saying it's just to look at from the attractive side, but show them outside of the women's college basketball sport. Because the other day I'm looking at something, I'm like strolling on Twitter, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know Sabrina looked like this outside the uniform. Like, hey, just show her out just with her family and shit like that, because that's what we do with all the men. We show them just hang with the kids and the family. They don't lean enough into that with the women's college basketball. And probably one of the biggest keys I would actually do, and this may be an unpopular opinion, is I would actually lean into the Las Vegas Aces becoming a villainous team. Now, most people don't look at it like that, but they are a super team over there. They have back-to-back championships. You have Becky Hammond, who almost became the first women's coach to coach in the NBA. She's one of the best players of all time of that sport. So you have her basically heading up the operation. You have Angel Wilson, who's been MVP. You have Candace Parker. You have Kelsey Plum. You have the face. You have the back-to-back championship. Make them the villainous team. Make them the chase team where people are like, we need to take them down. Right now, everybody's like, oh, we love Aces, and that's fine. There's no shading, but you do need a villain. So the same way, like I said, hey, go Caitlin versus Angel Reese. Lean into the Aces becoming the Yankees, the Lakers, the Celtics, becoming that type of team, the Cowboys, a team where people either really fucking with them or they really like, I can't do it with this team. That's what women's college basketball has to do.
Well, one thing to your point there, I actually think Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, if they come out of college this year, Paige Buchers of UConn decided to go back to UConn, made the announcement earlier this week. But one thing they need to do is, because Breanna Stewart decided to go to the Liberty where Sabrina plays and where Kelsey Plum is with the Las Vegas Aces, realistically, these Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese need to get drafted to another city to blow up more teams, to have more of it where it's not New York versus Las Vegas in the finals. Because realistically, that's probably what's going to be this year again. In the finals. So to have that competition, I also think there's an opportunity here for potential growth in the team. A lot of the a lot of the markets that they're in are dominated by NBA teams, right? So why not go to a market that doesn't have an NBA team? Look, I get it. You want to have the already established arena. You want to have all that type of stuff. But if you're expanding, right, you're expanding the league, why not go to a market like they did for Connecticut, like they did for Vegas? That really sparked a lot of interest. First, going to LA Sparks, I always knew growing up just because, what's her name? Lisa Leslie always blew that up. And she competed, and I give her credit because she put the Spark on the map pretty much. And with the Lakers at the time who were winning back-to-back championships, you know what I mean? So to have that type of notoriety, now the Sparks are kind of no one at this point, right? And the Lakers
that changed everything because Candace was the next star there when they lost her. That changed everything. Right. Random I was actually at that Sparks game when Lisa Leslie dunked for the first women's dunk. I was actually in the crowd at that game.
That's cool. That's dope. Cool. But that's what I'm saying is go to markets if you're going to expand the league, because I think there's going to be a room for expansion soon, especially with all these talented women coming out of college, to go to a market that an NBA team maybe isn't in and dominate that market, right? It really dominate, because you can't compete with that, right? And then the other thing is more TV time, right? I think something needs to change with the way they do things. They do it over the summer, and I think everyone's kind of spent over the summer, right? They're not really paying attention to sports. MLB's going on, but most of the time, that's where a lot of us sports people take our break. I understand it's competing with the NBA, but maybe changing up that type. I mean, look at
there's a flaw in that, and before you go further, because remember, they share stadium with a lot of hockey and NBA arenas, so it's hard for scheduling.
But that's my point, though. That's my point of expanding and moving to different arenas and different opportunities, because allowing us to see you more versus the months that we're not watching, and then the leading up, college football starting back up, huge games in the first couple of weeks, NFL starts back. Your finals are right when Week 1 of NFL season starts. Mm-hmm. What are you watching? You know what I mean? Jay, you had a rant about it back in September about Las Vegas and New York, and I didn't even know that was happening because Week 1 of the NFL was starting. We're watching Kansas City and Detroit. So when I'm looking at that, I think there needs to be some sort of differentiate. I don't think that'll ever get perfected. I think that's a very minor thing, but more appearances, like you were saying. I want to see more of the players outside of their home. We see LeBron more outside the court than we do on the court, right? So I want to see more of that in order to see who they are as people, who are they outside the court. I know that was kind of a long explanation, but I kind of had three of them that I was just thinking off the top of my head what I would like to see, like them be more in the community, maybe more out doing things, those type of things, like you were mentioning. Grandpa Jay?
So what worked really well to get Sabrina attention? It wasn't playing a basketball game, right? It was being part of sort of like a gimmick event. And that seems to draw the crowd. Why? Well, less attention to pay attention to something that's going to finish in a short space of time. You know what worked really well last Olympics? 3-on-3 basketball. I actually watched a lot of the women's games because they were very entertaining and the women were balling. And one named Kelsey Plum happened to be on that team, and she won herself an Olympic gold that propelled her into having herself become this household name. They used her throughout the year to say, hey, Olympic gold medalist Kelsey Plum, and advertise in a different way. Well, guess what? It's an Olympic year. Should we now consider taking advantage of this Olympic year and saying, let's put our brightest college hoop stars in there, forget about the WNBA players, let them play their season. You put your Juju Watkins. Of course, you put Caitlin. You have Angel. You have everybody there that you figure could be the stars of the game right now. Have them go out and try and compete and win a gold medal. They probably will. Now you catapult them into the WNBA as Olympic champions. People see them in a different light. Not only did they dominate the college game, on the global scene, they went out and did their thing representing the United States right away. Maybe that becomes the benchmark of taking your best college players and saying, this is going to be our 3-on-3 team. I don't know what the format is to make the team. I'm sure there's some sort of tournament format. But I think it makes it more appealing for fans that are like, I'm not ready to watch a full WNBA game yet. But 3-on-3, I'll fucks with it because these women will be shooting from anywhere and probably draining it from anywhere. And you're going to have 3 legit scorers. So they're going to spread the floor out so much, teams aren't going to know how to defend them. It'll be a fun thing to watch. I think you just take a different angle on it because you have to recognize why people had their eyes on Sabrina. You could say it's because of Steph, but she would have made the finals for the men's 3-point competition with the amount she scored. And she went cold on one of the
one of the racks.
Right, one of the racks. So it's kind of amazing that we can possibly see her even win one of these years, which would be amazing. And that would be a cool night for Steph. I don't know if it'll ever allow it to happen. But I like that angle better than saying, let's try and force feed the game because people aren't interested in the full game. So let's find a different way of doing it.
It's almost like the attention span on, why we always talk about like reels and everything like that. 30 to 40 seconds, that's people's attention span. And that's even difficult to do. So trying to get someone to start a whole new sport. But I think that the WNBA needs to if Caitlin Clark leaves this year, I think she has to. They have to maximize this.
Yeah. Like imagine, like you just say, imagine her calling out Elena Delandoni and be like, "Hey, Elena, can you do this?" And she shoots from 2 feet inside half court, and then the women start doing those things with each other and creating these viral videos where they realize that's how we're going to become popular. Really, like almost like the whole concept is not to be gimmicky, but you have to do something to be more recognizable as like anything you can do. I could do thing on a basketball court, other than the fact of obviously doing aerial dunks. Women are almost capable of doing everything men can do on the court.
Mike, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so honestly, I'm approaching this. I'll put my wrestling promoter type hat on with this, and it kind of goes with what you guys were saying in the sense
Girls
of
in bikinis on basketball courts.
No.
That's what Vince McMahon would have done.
That's what 33.
Yeah,
Vince McMahon would have.
Trey, that's exactly what Vince.
Numbers?
I mean, bikini 33. That's on the ass, not on the back.
Trey, that's exactly what Vince McMahon would have done, and that's exactly why he's no longer a part of the company. We're not going to get into that, but
it's actually a perfect example because WWE has lost interest over the years, so I can see the correlation with that. So what were you saying?
And so from a wrestling perspective, and this is sports, right? I mean, obviously these are sports, these are athletes, things like that. But at the same time, sports, above all, is at least partially now entertainment. They're there to put on a show for the fans. They want them to put on a show for the fans. So lean into your storylines, lean into your characters. Who are they as people? And who are they perceived as people?
Right.
Because everybody, like, you look at, obviously, the direct comparison is the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we see a lot of them off the court, but we also see a lot of these shows in the league leaning into the perception of them as people. The Warriors during that dynasty, especially with KD, leaned into being villains, that people didn't like them. They grew their evil beards, which Steph and KD still have. But they marketed the players and teams for what they were, both in actuality and their perception within the league.
Yeah.
Warriors versus everybody. They leaned into that. Cavs Warriors rematch was a big thing after the 3-1 comeback. LeBron versus KD, LeBron versus Steph, Mike versus, Hakeem, and Mike versus Karl Malone, and Scotty versus Stockton, and like, use what you have. I think that's the central point of what all four of us are saying. Use your resources that you have here.
Well, I will give them credit. They did do that. They did do that last year with the Aces and the Liberty. They really did. Right. Brianna versus Kelsey Plum. They were saying these are the two teams, and it for them and for their crowd. That was the finals. That was the finals. So that's why I'm saying that we should have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese should go to different teams.
Do it elsewhere.
Build on this.
Yeah, that's the only way.
To build on it, because then Kelsey Plum versus Angel Reese in the semis versus Sabrina and Brianna versus Caitlin Clark's team, which is probably going to be the Indiana team. In the finals, it's like, okay, which team? Who's going to take home the champion? Which four?
Right, but be able to have those storylines in multiple rounds of the playoffs, not just the finals.
But hold on, don't we get angry when an NBA superstar is kind of just lost in the weeds where they shouldn't be, and it's like this person needs to leave that city and find their way? Because if Caitlyn is lost in a Chicago or Indiana with 3 losing seasons under her belt, it's like, how did she just disappear? And then you lose the appeal on her because she ain't winning. And how do you advertise somebody not winning? Of course, she might be leading the league in points, but at the same time, her team's losing by 32 points, 15 points, 17 points a game, whatever it is. If she can will her team to win,
you got to hope she does. Yeah,
right?
will her team.
Which they hope for. Then
she's doing with Iowa. Which she's doing with Iowa.
But Iowa's a top program in the nation.
But if she's not on the team, are they still?
Right.
No, of course not. But you're talking about
she averages almost 50 points a game.
If she's the player that everybody says, then
there's no super team in college basketball.
Right? I get what you're saying.
There's also a big difference between the NBA and the WNBA when it comes to that, which is we do hate it when stars get lost in the weeds, but there's especially as the fact that the WNBA market share is growing or can only grow. It can really only go up to try to reach even half of what the NBA is in the country. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the WNBA has 12 teams, the NBA has 30. Mm-hmm. So I think there's less other places to take away from if they this all comes down to if they market it correctly and if they do what they need to do to make sure to keep eyes on these players so that then the eyes are on these teams. But there's less market share per team, I would say, I guess.
Well, they have to strike now because recently Caitlyn and her Iowa team got more eyes on them than an NBA game on at the same time. So
exactly.
And shout out to Caitlyn for setting the women's college basketball scoring record, right? 33,000 something. And she's on pace to break the men's potentially. She could probably, I think she's like 200 points away. So let's see if she does that. Let us know what you guys think on the subject of how WNBA and women's college basketball can market themselves better. College basketball is heating up right now. We're 2 weeks away from conference championship week, and then March Madness, of course, our favorite time here at Cinco Squad. But that brings up a good point. Teams that have surprised you this year. Which team has taken you from surprise? Like, damn, I didn't see this coming at all. Grandpa Jay, let me hear what you guys say.
Yeah, so I might be a prisoner at the moment, but definitely seeing college basketball come to what we love about it right now is teams are competing like they're already playing like tonight's their last night. So one team that kind of is a year late, and last year you expected it from them, that's the Texas Tech Red Raiders. There was a lot of hype around them. They're a top 25 program. Then all of a sudden they start the Big 12 off 0-12, and you figure they were supposed to bring in all these great pieces in the transfer portal. Talk of this kid named Pop-Up Isaac being a potential candidate for Player of the Year, and it was just a year too early for them. This team plays so well together. Unfortunately, right now, one of the big transfers they brought in, Devin Cambridge, he's out with a knee injury right now, and I hope he gets back, because if he does, him, the Toussaint kid, point guard they brought in, who's from the Bronx, and Pop-Up Isaacs, they're a big three that play so well together off the ball. The way the players are moving, getting to the basket, I mean, the game was close, and they were getting easy buckets. So when you see a team like that, as well as how passionate they play, and how much they play for each other. Defensively, they're a freaking menace. They're the kind of team that celebrates getting defensive plays together. And the way they closed that game against TCU, who's won a lot of close games recently, by the way, beating Kansas on the road in double overtime in what might be the Big 12 or one of the games of the year so far is like 105-102. Remarkable, because they shoot 78% from the free throw line. So what do you know you need to win in the tournament? You have to have a great point guard. You have to be able to hit your shots from the line. And you have to have kids that play with a lot of heart. And I'm telling you, this Texas Tech Raiders team might be sitting in the mid-pack of the Big 12, but that's good for them because they're going to sneak in. Maybe they could be a 5 or 6 seed. And no number 3 team wants to play them early, or no number 2 team wants to play them if they drop them to 7. And I'm telling you, these guys are making a deep run in the tournament this year. First year coach did some great things at North Texas. Kind of reminiscent of Mikey's boys when Hubert Davis took over, even though, of course, North Carolina's they're a blue blood, everybody knows them. I'm telling you, there's something about this team. They were horrible last year. This year, they look like they are destined to do something great in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Texas Tech has definitely been playing some good basketball. We've seen a couple other games, and they just look like a team that can really make a run in the Big 12, in the Big 12 tournament for sure. But my team that I have to say is a team that Cinco Squad has been covering sometime this year. That's the USF Bulls. USF Bulls are on a 12-game winning streak right now. And I'll tell you right now, they have looked great since playing Florida State in the Orange Bowl Classic here in Miami, Florida at the Florida Panthers Arena. They just look like a team that's gelling together. There are a bunch of transfers on this team. First year Coach Raheem Abdur. Let me make sure I get this right. Amir Abdur Rahim has. I've said this from the beginning. I love his mentality. I love the way he goes about coaching. I love the way he handles situations on the court where he's just calm. His motions are very into the game where he's taking things and slowing it down, and it's resonating to his players. Three players in particular is Chris Youngblood, a transfer from Kennesaw State that came over, averaging 15 points a game, is just lighting it up from three. 42% from three is just knocking it down. And then his partner in crime, Selton Miguel, 41% from three, 14 points per game. And then their big man, Kaysen Pryor, I may be saying that wrong. I'm sorry, Kaysen, if I am, but he is a menace on the boards. He is really a menace. He really he's gritty. He likes to get in the paint, throw bows, try to get the rebounds, try to get his guys the ball. This team is one to mess with. They just dominated FAU, Mikey's FAU Owls. They just dominated them at home, and I don't see a team that can really beat them in the American Conference. They could run the table and be a good tournament team. And hats off to Coach Raheem in his first season as head coach there, doing what he's doing in this and setting the precedent. I mean, we're looking back at, the USF Bulls last year. I believe they had 9 wins. Mm-hmm. 9 wins last year. So, 14 and 18 last year. And then the year before, I mean, this team has just been at the bottom of the American Conference. 8 and 23 in 21-22. So to see them come up like this is great for college basketball. It's great for the American Conference to have multiple teams probably coming out to the tournament. So shout out to the USF Bulls. Be up to Tampa here soon to cover you guys some more.
First time in over 20 years. Coach
20 years, yes.
Right.
Correct. Mikey?
Yeah, so I'm going to take it to a conference that is very familiar to John and I. I'm going to go take it over to the A-10. And with the newest A-10 team, it's the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. They've really impressed me this year. 19-7. They're coming off a 10-21 season where it looked like they were never going to find their footing in the Atlantic 10. They're now tied for the conference lead. They're on a 6-game win streak. And this team, to me, roster-wise and the way they play, reminds me a lot of that Loyola Chicago team that started shocking everybody in March Madness, in the sense of they're just a deep team that constantly rotates. They got 2 guys right now in their entire lineup that average over 30 minutes a game. The rest are averaging low 20s to mid to high teens.
Yeah.
Led by Desmond Watson and Philip Alston. Both of them, they're leading scorers, averaging 13 points a game. Their leading scorers are only averaging 13 points a game. Watson shooting 42% from 3, 42% from the field, 70% from free throw line. He's their top scorer, but they have deep guys. Those guys, like I said, are scoring 13 points, but then you got guys with 9, 8, a couple guys with 8, 6, 5. Like, everybody's contributing, and everybody's got a role on this team. And when you're a team like Loyola Chicago, like, your St. Peter's, your Farley Dickinsons, your FAU going into last year, like, you just need, if you're going to shock people, you need to have guys constantly coming in and contributing when you don't have these star players. So that's really impressed me, the fact that they've made such a jump, and they seem to have, it's another Loyola Chicago team that seems to have really bought into the program and the system and style they're playing.
And not for nothing, guys. These mid-majors, they're going to put, I'm looking at the A-10 right now. They got, and Loyola Chicago's not even in the top. They're not the top team. Richmond is. The Richmond team that I covered, I said that Richmond team was hanging with Florida, who Florida is starting to hit their stride. Unfortunately, they lost last night in a tough overtime loss to Alabama, but they're a tough team. And that coach, I love their style of play. I always said they always gave Bonaventure a tough game. I mean, you got Richmond at 19-7, Loyola at 19-7, Dayton at number 16 in the country, 21-5, VCU, and then at 17-9, Massachusetts at 17-9, George Mason at 18-8. There could be multiple teams out of the A-10 coming into the tournament. So watch out. I mean, that's why I'm saying the NCAA is so – it's going to be the hardest year for them to decide who gets in and who gets out because it's not like one or two teams. There's going to be multiple teams that should have been like, man, we deserved this. Like, why? You know what I mean? We're going to see that so much on Selection Sunday. I could see it right now.
It's fun. Dickinson, who could have set a 2 seed, the Grand Canyon Antelopes.
To get a 2 seed?
No, to upset.
No, they could upset
a 2 seed. I'm like, okay, so
Grand Canyon is 2 seed.
Mountain West has some great teams too. Right now, Colorado State, Utah State hanging around in the top 15 right now.
Yeah.
So they'll get a couple. San Diego State's going to get in too. So.
And then we got the Sycamores to Indiana State. I mean, they're playing good basketball. But those 3 teams, I agree, are pretty much some of the teams that were at the bottom of their leagues not too long ago and now have sparked interest from the rest of the league. So I'm very excited to see. Guys, I mean, we got 2 weeks left, and then we're conference championship week, and I'm super, super excited. So I'm looking forward to seeing – let us know who your surprise team of college basketball is this season, and we'll see if it matches ours. And it's our favorite part of the episode. It is time for Stump the Squad. Take it away, Jay.
All right, guys and girls and ghouls and goblins, you know what time it is. It's Stump the Squad, our favorite time of the show. This is when we try and stump each other with a trivia question. We know it all, so we only get it wrong to make you guys feel good about yourselves. However, if you want to play along, get it right, give yourself +2. If you get it wrong, you get -2. Since I've already won our inaugural race to the championship, this one is just I'm just here for the ride, boys. I'm just here to see which one of you guys can get one more win. By the way, are we doing one for Show 100, or are we just celebrating this guy up here? What are we doing for Show 100?
We're doing
another one.
Squad. What the heck?
All right, so I'll save it for next week. All right, so Trey, how about you try and stump us here this week?
Okay, so we're going to take it to the hardwood. This actually, John's always interested in numbers, jersey numbers specifically. So we're going to take this to jersey numbers. What NBA jersey number has been worn in the most games since 2000? The number 1, the number 3, the number 8, or the number 23?
3.
John's going 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to stick with my gut and go 23.
Mike's going 23. And Jamie's going 8.
Yep.
All right, so today I have successfully stumped Mike and Jamie. Of course, John gets the number answer right. Really quick, before we go forward, one of these I have a fun fact I'll save for tiebreaker if needed. But currently, the number 5 is actually the leading number worn in the league right now. There's 28 players that wear the number 5 currently. The number 3, interesting, since the year 2000, has the number, like that total number, the most points, steals, rebounds, assists, 3 points made, NBA titles, overall wins. The number 3 is the most common number when you combine all those facts. The only category that is beating, the only number or the only category that's beating 3 or doesn't have 3 at the top is blocks. The number 21, partly because of Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, all of them were 21. 3's in it, but 21 leads that category. Every other category, 3 leads. But you start adding Wade, Iverson, Ben Wallace has a lot of blocks, rebounds, shit like that. CP3, like you have a lot of 3s.
Dwayne Wade.
Wade, like it's a lot.
Waddy.
Where you want to go next?
But let's cool John down.
All right. So I'm going to take it to college basketball. And in March Madness, in 2019 and 2000, held 2 conferences had 3 1 seeds each year. So each year, 3 1 seeds were all from the same conference. Which conference was it? Which conferences was it? Was it the Big East and the Big 12? The Big 12 and the SEC? The SEC and the ACC? Or the ACC and the Big East?
Okay,
I can repeat those if you want.
Definitely repeat it.
Run the whole question one more time.
Yeah, so in 2019 and 2009, two conferences had 3 1 seeds. So each year they had 3 1 seeds from the same conference.
Mm-hmm.
Which conference was it? The Big East or the Big 12? The Big 12 or the SEC? The SEC or the ACC? The ACC or Big East?
Let's go Big 12 and SEC. That was choice 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go Big 12 SEC.
And what was the ACC one and who?
SEC and then ACC and Big East.
ACC Big East.
Seems to
and I have successfully stumped Trey Day and Mike. It is the ACC and Big East. In 2019, Virginia, Duke, and North Carolina were all the 1 seeds.
Yeah.
And in 2009, Louisville, Connecticut, and Pittsburgh were all the 1 seeds.
That's the one I couldn't remember. I knew Louisville was, and I figured maybe you.
I didn't know at first either. I was like, damn, Pitt, and I looked back. I was like, oh, they did have that good year. So I do remember that clear as day. I was like, damn, I forgot they were that good. All right, Grandpa Jay, go ahead.
All right, so since we're on a basketball theme, we're going to keep things there. So since we spoke about it earlier in the show, NBA champions have had records of, on average, 61-21 during the regular season. However, one team set the outlier record of all teams over the past 42 years. Can you tell me which team it was? Was it the 2005-2006 Miami Heat? Was it the 2021 20-21 Milwaukee Bucks? Was it the 94-95 Houston Rockets? Or was it the 2003-2004 Bad Boys of Detroit?
Say that question again, please.
So, NBA champions have had records on average of 61 wins, 21 losses. However, can you tell me, of course, there have been a couple outliers over the years, in the last 40 years. Can you tell me which team of the outliers had the worst record that won the NBA championship over the past 42 years? So of these 4 teams, which one had the worst record when they won the championship? Was it the 05-06 Heat, the 20-21 Bucks, the 94-95 Houston Rockets, or the 2003-2004 Detroit Pistons?
I'm going I'm going to go Heat.
I'm between 2.
Because the Heat weren't good. They had Shaq, but I'm going to Heat. Bucks were a good team.
I guess I'll stick with my gut. I seem to recall them not being as good as you think they would have been. I'm gonna go with the Pistons.
All right, gentlemen. Today I have successfully stumped the squad. The answer is the 94-95 Rockets, who repeated as the 5 seed in the West and swept Penny and the Orlando Magic in the finals. They only had a win percentage of .573 and won 43 games that year. Yeah.
Well, Mike, it's fitting that you're the last one because you are eliminated, and Grandpa Jay and I both have 0. Trey Day has -4, so we have to get it wrong, and Trey Day has to get it right.
Right.
So to get that
tie break, buddy. There we go.
No, I'm tired of tie breaking.
And
okay, I'm the tie breaker right now. What the fuck?
Look, you have a better chance there because Mike's going on the diamond. So let's go.
Shut up. Yeah. Okay. I have a baseball question. Shout out to Uncle Mike, by the way, for asking me this morning, and I felt like it was too good to use. Not.
Yeah, Mikey. Stomp
Which
your ass up.
is the only MLB team to not have ever had a player hit a home run in their first career at bat?
Oh.
Is it A, Milwaukee, B, Colorado, C, Seattle, or D, Baltimore?
It's like
Baltimore.
4 teams at the bottom that like you wouldn't think.
Well, Colorado's out of it because someone had to hit a home run in that fucking park in their debut.
Yeah, it just takes off. But I'm going to say Colorado because they have such a deep park, so it's very difficult sometimes to hit a home run too. I'm going to say Colorado.
So Trey says Baltimore. John says Colorado.
The answer is Seattle.
Jamie says Seattle. All right. So this week I have successfully stumped the squad. Milwaukee.
Nice.
All right, Trey, break out that tiebreaker.
Okay, tiebreaker. Let's break it out.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
I'm so tired of tying.
Okay, so
I'm so fucking
we
tired
said
of this.
the
This
number.
is so ridiculous.
We said that the number 3 had the most points scored since the year 2000. So we're going to go between the year 2000 and the year 2023. How many points have been scored in the NBA by players wearing the number 3 total?
Jesus Christ.
I know.
What the fuck?
That was a
What the
tiebreaker.
fuck? How is this even fair? Like,
You bet. Well,
so how many? Hold on. How many points were scored by a player wearing the number 3?
No, all players wearing the
All
number
players
3
wearing
over
the
the
number
past
3.
23
Total.
years.
Point scored by somebody wearing the number 3 in the NBA
the last
game
23
since
years.
2000
Yeah.
Since 2023.
4.
First to
No,
Jamie, congratulations. You were now.
Just Jamie, just say a number.
Wearing the number 3, every player in the NBA. Fuck. I'm gonna say.
Funny part is, logistically, I would think that it only counts while the guys were wearing 3. So if
Yeah, it
they
only
change
counts when they're
jersey
wearing 3.
numbers,
They have to be in the jersey 3.
if they change
kind of
numbers
Tough
during their career,
because AI changed his number. Fuck.
Yeah, it doesn't count. If they change their number, that doesn't count. They weren't wearing 3 at the time of that point.
I don't know. Jamie, you got to guess?
Yeah.
Both of them, I guess.
373,500.
How much?
373,500.
I'm going to go 100,000.
And today's winner is, unfortunately, Jamie again. The number was 319,776 points.
I knew it was over 300,000.
I fucking hate this game. I fucking hate this
The
game.
beginning of the show.
I'm sitting there like, I'm going to do calculator and get math. But once John said 100,000, I said, well, this is easy. I was like, I don't need to do the math.
He couldn't even begin to start the math. I'm like, I'll go first and see if he follows these.
Yeah, once he did that, I said, oh, Jamie got pretty
Bro,
close.
my first answer was 10,000.
10,000.
That's one player in 2 seasons.
That's what I said to myself.
Remember,
One player.
right, you just talked about...
We had Dwayne Wade for like so many years, and I'm thinking that's like maybe, 15, 20,000 points maybe.
No, you got to think, I think LeBron has 38. LeBron's at 40,000 by his damn self. I mean, it's 23, but just we literally have a guy by himself who's 40,000 that's currently active in the league.
Well, that's why I said to myself, Dwayne's got to have 20,000 maybe around that. So I was like,
him, you added Iverson,
Marbury,
yeah, you added Marbury,
Ben Wallace for those points all those years. Damn.
Yeah.
All right, so Grandpa J is week 99. The great one wins again. And the scores are Jamie with 12 wins, Mike with 7, Trey with 5, and John with 4, and 40 overtime losses.
You're going for lucky number 13 and cap it off.
You're definitely with OT with a point in hockey rules with OT losses. You
could be a whole different story if John won a couple overtimes.
Yeah, really. Fuck.
We have to make a new rule: no mathematic questions for overtime in the next.
No, because then you're gonna make me think even more. Like, fuck.
Give him a chance.
Actually, we got to limit the number to like under 100. Give me something like in the range of that. Start going past that. I'm all over the place. But all right, so that was week 99. We got show 100. 100 next week, fellas. I am so excited to be on this journey with you guys. And we have a special show next Friday. We are dropping a special show with Olympic athlete who is participating in the Paris Olympics, and Dylan Carter. He's going to be joining the show. So make sure you guys tune in on Friday. We'll be dropping that episode as well. But, of course, Show 100 will be on Thursday. Fellas, any final thoughts heading into the weekend?
No doubt. Watch college basketball. It's amazing right now. I mean, teams are playing like they're already trying to, like it's win or you don't get into the tournament. Pop Isaac, player for Texas Tech. Give Texas Tech a watch. Telling you guys, we'll talk about it more as the weeks go on. You do not want to play the Red Raiders in the tournament this year.
Yes, and make sure college basketball is hot right now. I mean, the ACC is potentially 3 teams this year, to give you an idea, where they normally play 8 to 9 per year. So make sure you guys tune in. A lot of good basketball. NBA's back. NHL's back. MLB starting up. We'll see you guys here next week for episode 100. Cinco Squad out.
Liverpool, baby. Liverpool.